The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
On the Facebook page, we're asking the question, do you think Ted Cruz, who announced today he's running for the Republican nomination for president, do you think he is eligible? Cruz is 44. He was born in Calgary, Canada, of an American mother and a Cuban-born father who was still a Cuban citizen but was legally working in the United States. Not yet a U.S. citizen, since became a U.S. citizen, but at the time, not a U.S. citizen. Now, there's no dispute that Cruz is an American citizen. Ted Cruz is an American citizen. That's not the point. The point is he a, quote, natural-born citizen of the United States, as required by the Constitution when it comes to the qualifications for president? And that, of course, bedeviled a whole bunch of people in the past because of the phrase in the Constitution, and I don't have it in front of me, that you have to be born in the United States. And that was taken to mean, in other words, because the founders, when they used the phrase United States, they didn't think of the country. They thought of the union of individual sovereign states. The earliest idea of the phrase United States was the emphasis was on states. The phrase didn't, and they would say it this way. The founders, up until about 1850 or more, they would say in these United States, because it was a plural. To them, it wasn't a singular. It wasn't a country. It was a union of states. It was a plural, in these United States. So that's the way they looked at it then. So you had to be born in these United States. Well, it's awfully troubling because Mr. Goldwater was born in Arizona, to be sure, but before it became a state, it was a territory. McCain was born in Panama at the U.S. base, which may or may not be sovereign territory of the United States, but sure as hell isn't a state. And you had all kinds of problems. Grover Cleveland and others, reportedly born outside the country. So this issue comes up all the time. And, of course, it famously came up with regard to Barack Obama, who couldn't produce a real birth certificate and hasn't to this moment. And that one he produced is a clear forgery. So there were all kinds of back and forth about natural born and what it meant. Now, the strict constructionist people, and they don't have much leg to stand on, say that you have to be born in a state of the United States by 2 American citizens to be a natural-born citizen. Others say, because they like Goldwater and McCain, that if you're on territory controlled by the United States, then you're in the United States. And then others who say, well, if you're an American citizen and you're naturally born as a citizen, you haven't been naturalized, you haven't come to the United States and become a citizen through the naturalization process, but you were at birth a citizen of the United States, then you're a natural-born citizen. Now, no Supreme Court case has ruled definitively on any of this, but Ted Cruz is obviously going to have to face that issue. We asked about it on Facebook. Here's some of the responses. Comedian Scott Bowman says to the question, can Ted Cruz run? Sure, he just needs to hide his birth certificate till his second term, and then everyone will have forgotten. Lily said his mom was an American, thus he had 2 citizenships. That's true, and he's renounced his Canadian. So it's clear he's a U.S. citizen. Is it clear he's a natural-born U.S. citizen? I don't know, because people have been abusing me on this point for years. Heidi Marie says, was the Kenyan eligible? And then it goes on. Let's see, where's some more of that? I wanted to get more of that in because there was more abusive stuff. Oh, yeah, here it is. Can Ted Cruz run? In other words, is he eligible to run? Jill doesn't get the question. How so, she says. The conservative Hammer says, is Roger Hedgecock an idiot? And then reposts, why are you feeding this idiotic BS? I don't know, conservative Hammer, what you're talking about, but you've heard my explanation of this one more time. Let's see. And then I hear, of course, SK says more than Obama. Drew says not. He says if 2 citizen parents were not required for natural-born citizen status, then there's no possible logical reason for the adoption clause in Article 2, Section 1. All the founders were charter citizens with non-citizen parents because, et cetera, et cetera. And then Dave says, nope, his mother's a natural-born U.S. citizen living in Canada while working there. That makes Ted Cruz a natural-born citizen and eligible to be president. So obviously we're going to go around the mulberry bush on this one with all kinds of opinions. But it is an interesting open issue that's not really very clear. Now, he's got, with many of my conservative friends, a problem. As he said today in the speech, he was born in Calgary, Canada, to an American mother and a Cuban-born father who was not a citizen of the United States but was legally resident in the United States. They happened to be in Canada at the time. And so Cruz is saying, under federal law, I am an American citizen because I was born, although outside the country, to an American mother. But is he a natural-born citizen? Many people believe that unless you're born of two American citizens in the United States, that is one of the United States of America, you are not a natural-born citizen. Now, of course, that would exclude, let's see, Barry Goldwater, who was born in the territory of Arizona. That would exclude John McCain, who was born in Panama. So there's a number of, and there's no clear, although I get this 1876, every time I talk about this, I get a case emailed me to me from 1876. So please don't do that again. There is no Supreme Court ruling on what the definition is of a natural-born citizen. A lot of people in the legal field will tell you that as long as you are a citizen of the United States by birth and not by naturalization, curiously enough, you are a natural-born citizen, even though I use the word natural again. But if you're naturalized, if you were born in, say, another country, you came to the United States legally, and you became a citizen by naturalized process, then I think most people would say, no, you cannot be president of the United States. You have to be born by birth an American. Now, does that mean that two illegals or an illegal mother here in San Diego gives birth to a U.S. citizen? Is that citizen eligible to be the President of the United States? Again, the Supreme Court has made no ruling, but that's going to crop up. And interestingly enough, it cropped up today. Let me get the reference for you here. In the New York Times. Can you imagine, do you remember, do you have the paper at all in hand where the New York Times questioned Barack Obama's natural-born citizenship? Oh no. You were a racist if you even brought it up. And that's the only way they covered it. Today, well, looks like there's a problem here. Although they come down on the side of Cruz being eligible, they are very quick with it, on the same day he announces, to bring up the issue in the hopes he gets a conservative backlash, which I think he'll get. Now, some of the other, and I want to get your reaction to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, legitimate, probable, your favorite, not your favorite? What do you think? 877-84-ROGER. On the web at rogerhedgecock.com. Chat room's open. Email coming in. Twitter at Roger Hedgecock. Facebook page is The Roger Hedgecock Show.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.